The rain hammered against the windows of the Grand Lexington Hotel as Olivia Monroe gathered the last of the floral arrangements from the ballroom. At 24, she had worked her way up from serving tables to coordinating elite events for Manhattan's wealthiest residents. Her honey blonde hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her hazel eyes reflected both exhaustion and determination. The gala had been a success, but success meant staying until every detail was perfect. She pushed through the service doors into the dimly lit corridor, her arms full of forgotten programs and decorative ribbons. The building felt eerily quiet after hosting 500 guests just hours before. Her sensible flats made soft sounds against the polished floor as she headed toward the storage rooms. That was when she heard it. A voice. Deep, smooth, and impossibly confident. Working alone at this hour seems risky. Olivia spun around, nearly dropping everything in her arms. A man stood in the shadows near the executive elevator, tall and imposing. As he stepped into the light, her breath caught. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her yearly salary, tailored perfectly to his athletic frame. Dark brown hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from marble. But it was his eyes that held her captive. Steel blue and penetrating, they seemed to see straight through her professional facade. "I work here," she managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "These events don't clean themselves up." A slow smile curved his lips. "I'm aware. I own this hotel." Olivia felt heat rise to her cheeks. Julian Sterling. She had heard the name whispered by her supervisors with reverence. The 32-year-old billionaire who had built an empire from nothing, acquiring hotels, restaurants, and properties across 3 continents. He rarely visited his establishments, preferring to run his empire from behind closed doors. "Mr. Sterling," she said, straightening her shoulders. "I didn't realize you were here tonight. I prefer to observe from a distance." He moved closer, his footsteps deliberate. "But something caught my attention." "The event?" Olivia asked, hoping her work had impressed him. "You." The single word hung in the air between them, charged with meaning. Olivia's heart hammered against her ribs. She had dealt with wealthy men before, endured their inappropriate comments and wandering eyes. But this felt different. Julian wasn't looking at her with casual interest. His gaze held intensity that made her skin tingle. "I watched you tonight," he continued, stopping just close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive with notes of cedar and spice. "The way you handled every crisis with grace. The demanding bride who changed the seating chart 3 times. The chef who threatened to quit. The lighting malfunction. You solved everything without breaking your composure." Olivia swallowed hard. "That's my job." "It's more than that." His voice dropped lower, almost intimate. "You have a strength that most people lack. A control that intrigues me." "I should get back to work," she said, though her feet refused to move. Julian reached out, and for a heart-stopping moment, she thought he might touch her. Instead, he took the stack of programs from her arms, his fingers brushing hers briefly. The contact sent electricity shooting up her arm. "Let me help you," he said. "That's not necessary. You're the owner, I can't ask you to carry supplies." "You didn't ask. I offered." That smile again, knowing and dangerous. "And I always get what I want, Olivia." The way he said her name, like a caress, made her knees weak. They walked together to the storage room, an awkward silence filling the space between them. Olivia was acutely aware of his presence beside her, the power that radiated from him without effort. When they reached the storage closet, she fumbled with her keys, her hands uncharacteristically clumsy. Julian stood so close behind her that she could feel the heat of his body. "Nervous?" he asked, amusement coloring his tone. "No," she lied. "You should be." He leaned in, his lips nearly brushing her ear. "Because I'm going to make you an offer, Olivia Monroe." And when I do, you're going to find it very difficult to refuse. Her hand stilled on the doorknob. What kind of offer? Patience. He stepped back, giving her space to breathe. Come to my office tomorrow at 8 in the evening. 20th floor. Don't be late. Before she could respond, before she could ask any of the 1,000 questions racing through her mind, Julian Sterling turned and walked away. His footsteps echoed down the corridor until she heard the elevator doors close. Olivia stood alone in the dim hallway, her body trembling with something between fear and anticipation. She should refuse. Should forget this encounter and focus on her career. But as she finally opened the storage room door, she knew with absolute certainty that she would go to that office tomorrow. Because Julian Sterling had awakened something inside her. Something hungry and reckless that demanded to know what happened next. And deep down, beneath her practical nature and careful planning, Olivia wanted to surrender to whatever he offered. The game had begun, and she was already losing. The day crawled by with agonizing slowness. Olivia tried to focus on her tasks, coordinating a corporate luncheon and reviewing contracts for upcoming events, but her mind kept drifting to Julian Sterling. His words played on repeat in her thoughts, stirring feelings she had long buried beneath ambition and responsibility. At 7:30 that evening, she stood before her small apartment mirror, second-guessing her outfit for the third time. She had chosen a navy blue dress, professional yet elegant, with her hair falling in soft waves around her shoulders. Her hazel eyes stared back at her, reflecting uncertainty and excitement in equal measure. The 20th floor of the Grand Lexington was a world apart from the bustling event spaces below. Thick carpet muffled her footsteps as she approached the massive mahogany doors at the end of the hall. Before she could knock, they swung open. Julian stood framed in the doorway, his suit jacket discarded, white shirt rolled up to reveal strong forearms. The casual version of him was somehow more intimidating than the polished businessman from last night. Punctual, he observed, stepping aside. I appreciate that. Olivia entered an office that screamed wealth and power. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering Manhattan skyline. Modern art adorned the walls, and a massive desk dominated one corner. But her attention fixed on the small sitting area where two leather chairs faced each other, a bottle of wine already breathing on the glass table between them. Please, sit. Julian gestured to one of the chairs before settling into the other with fluid grace. She perched on the edge of her seat, back straight, hands folded in her lap. Every instinct told her to maintain her professional demeanor, even as her pulse raced. You're wondering why I asked you here, Julian said, pouring wine into 2 glasses. He offered her one, and their fingers touched briefly during the exchange. The thought crossed my mind. He leaned back, studying her with those penetrating blue eyes. I have a proposition for you, Olivia. One that will change your life if you're brave enough to accept it. I'm listening. I need someone by my side at social functions. Galas, charity events, business dinners. Someone intelligent, poised, and capable of holding her own among the elite. He paused, taking a sip of wine. Someone who won't be intimidated by my world. Olivia's heart sank slightly. You want to hire me as your date? Not exactly. Julian set down his glass and leaned forward, elbows on his knees, closing the distance between them. I want you to be my companion. My partner in public. In exchange, I'll triple your current salary, provide you with a wardrobe befitting my world, and introduce you to connections that will skyrocket your career. And in private? The question escaped before she could stop it. His lips curved into that dangerous smile. In private, Olivia, you'll discover what it means to truly surrender control. Heat flooded her cheeks. I don't understand. Yes, you do. He reached out, his fingers trailing along her jawline with feather-light pressure. You felt it last night. This pull between us. The way your body responds when I'm near. The way you can't stop thinking about what might happen if you say yes. She should pull away. Should tell him this was inappropriate, that she wasn't the type of woman who entered into arrangements like this. But his touch ignited something primal inside her, and the words died on her lips. I won't force you, Julian continued, his thumb brushing across her lower lip. But I will be honest. I'm a man who knows what he wants, and I want you. Not just as decoration on my arm, but as someone who challenges me. Someone real. Olivia's breath came in shallow gasps. This is insane. We barely know each other. Then let's change that. He withdrew his hand, leaving her skin tingling from his touch. Spend 1 week with me. Attend 3 events. See if you can handle my world. If at any point you want to walk away, you're free to go. No consequences, no hard feelings. And if I stay? Then we explore this connection. See where it leads. His voice dropped to a husky whisper. I promise you, Olivia, you'll never feel more alive than when you're with me. She knew she should refuse. Should protect her heart and her dignity. But something in his eyes called to the part of her that had always played it safe, always chosen security over passion. 1 week, she heard herself say. But I have conditions. Julian's smile widened. Name them. I keep my job. I maintain my independence. And if I feel uncomfortable at any point, we stop. Agreed. He stood, extending his hand. Do we have a deal? Olivia rose on unsteady legs and placed her hand in his. The moment their palms touched, energy crackled between them. Julian pulled her closer, his other hand settling on her waist. One more thing, he murmured, his face inches from hers. When we're alone, you call me Julian. Not Mr. Sterling. I want to hear my name on your lips. Julian, she breathed, testing the intimacy of it. Perfect. He released her slowly, as if reluctant to let go. Your first event is tomorrow night. A charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum. I'll send a car for you at 6, and a stylist will arrive at 4 to help you prepare. Olivia nodded, not trusting her voice. As she turned to leave, Julian caught her hand once more. Olivia, he said softly. Thank you for taking a chance. Don't thank me yet, she replied, meeting his gaze with newfound courage. You might discover I'm more than you bargained for. His laugh was rich and genuine. I'm counting on it. She left his office in a daze, her mind spinning with possibilities and dangers. As the elevator descended, Olivia caught her reflection in the polished doors. Her eyes sparkled with an excitement she hadn't felt in years. Tomorrow, her carefully constructed life would tilt on its axis. Tomorrow, she would step into Julian Sterling's world and discover if she was strong enough to navigate its treacherous waters. And despite every logical reason to be terrified, all she felt was anticipation. The stylist had transformed Olivia into someone she barely recognized. The emerald gown hugged her curves before flowing into an elegant train, and her hair was swept into an intricate updo that showcased her neck and shoulders. Diamond earrings, on loan from a jeweler Julian apparently kept on retainer, sparkled at her ears. When the car arrived at the Metropolitan Museum, Olivia's stomach twisted with nerves. But the moment she saw Julian waiting at the entrance, devastating in a custom tuxedo, something inside her settled. He extended his hand, and she took it without hesitation. You're stunning, he said, his eyes darkening with appreciation. You clean up pretty well yourself. His laugh drew curious glances from the other guests. Throughout the evening, Julian kept her close, his hand possessive on her lower back as he introduced her to senators, CEOs, and celebrities. To her surprise, Olivia found herself enjoying the challenge. She matched wits with a tech mogul, charmed a notoriously difficult philanthropist, and even made a Broadway producer laugh at her self-deprecating humor. You're a natural, Julian whispered during a quiet moment. They adore you. I'm faking half of it, she admitted. So is everyone here. He guided her toward a secluded balcony overlooking Central Park. But you do it with authenticity. That's rare in my world. The night air was cool against her skin as they stepped outside, away from the crowd. City lights twinkled below them, and music drifted through the open doors behind them. Julian turned to face her, his expression serious. I need to tell you something. Olivia's heart skipped. What is it? This arrangement, this deal we made, it's not enough for me anymore. He took both her hands in his. I thought I could keep this professional, that I could maintain control. But from the moment I saw you in that hallway, something changed. Julian, I don't understand. I'm falling for you, Olivia. The confession seemed to cost him something. The real you. Not the woman in the designer gown or the perfect companion at my side. The woman who stays late to make sure every detail is right. Who speaks her mind even when it's intimidating. Who challenges me without fear. Tears pricked at Olivia's eyes. This is happening so fast. I know. He cupped her face gently. And I know I'm asking a lot. My life is complicated, demanding, and often ruthless. But I promise you this. If you choose me, I will spend every day proving that you made the right decision. Olivia searched his face, seeing past the confident billionaire to the man beneath. A man who, despite all his success, seemed genuinely afraid of her answer. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I. His thumb brushed away a tear that had escaped. But I've built an empire by taking calculated risks. And you, Olivia Monroe, are worth every risk in the world. What if I'm not strong enough for your world? You already are. He pulled her closer. You just don't see it yet. But I do. I see everything you're capable of becoming. Standing there in his arms, overlooking a city that never slept, Olivia made her choice. She rose on her toes and kissed him, pouring every ounce of her hope and fear and desire into that single act. Julian responded immediately, his arms wrapping around her waist as he deepened the kiss. It was passionate and tender, claiming and giving all at once. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. Is that a yes? He asked, his forehead resting against hers. That's a yes to trying, Olivia replied. To seeing where this goes. To taking the risk with you. That's all I need. Julian smiled, genuine joy transforming his features. We'll figure out the rest together. Over the following weeks, Olivia discovered that loving Julian Sterling meant embracing chaos and calm in equal measure. He was demanding and generous, intense and surprisingly playful. He pushed her to pursue her own dreams, connecting her with investors for the event planning company she had always wanted to start. Their relationship became the subject of society page speculation, but Olivia found she didn't care. With Julian by her side, she felt invincible. He attended her business meetings, offering advice that came from years of building his empire. She accompanied him to negotiations, providing perspective he had never considered. 6 months after their midnight encounter, Julian took Olivia back to the Grand Lexington Hotel. He led her to the same corridor where they had first spoken, stopping at the exact spot where he had offered to carry her programs. Do you remember what I told you that night? He asked. You said you always get what you want. I was wrong. He knelt down, pulling a velvet box from his pocket. I don't just want you, Olivia. I need you. You've become the foundation of everything I am and everything I want to be. So I'm asking, will you marry me? Will you build this life with me? Olivia looked down at the man who had challenged her, protected her, and loved her beyond measure. The answer was simple. Yes. As Julian slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her, Olivia realized that sometimes the greatest risk led to the greatest reward. She had walked into his world expecting nothing and found everything. Their story was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see what came next.